Welcome back to our ContinuousX podcast episode with our guest, Chris Reynolds, Chief Architect at KubeCost's, as we tried to solve for X in the SDLC equation. Welcome back, Chris.
Thanks for having me back, guys.
So I'll get right into our final question for you, Chris.
All right.
With so many ops, X ops, DevOps, DevSecOps, GitOps, DataOps, AI ops, etc., all vying for each team's attention, what can our viewers do to start integrating FinOps into their practices?
Well, so I kind of mentioned previously, there's crawling, walking, and running. So everybody has to start, in that maturity scale on the crawling side of things. You just can't run. You'll run right into a wall, and it'll be very painful and probably expensive at the end of the day. So, bringing in the crawling, it's going to be very highly reactive. Typically, you're going to have a cloud shock event of, oh my God, that costs so much money. Like what happened here, and somebody spun up an ML workload for 3 hours and spent $160K. And that's when you go, okay, so now we start bringing in these tools around it that can help kind of solve these problems to get you to this, running stage. And once you get to that stage, it allows you to bring in more of the complexity around the business side of things and bringing the business value and the maturing of the functionality around it. Mm-hmm. So taking that quick action at a small scale in turn will have ramifications further down the line in how your day-to-day operation works. So, finding a tool set that, say you have a daily scrum, bringing in and having these conversations of, our daily target goal of the dollar amount of X of running this PaaS platform, we were under yesterday, so we're in a valley versus a peak where we overspent. And setting up guardrails and being less reactive around that and being more predictive of saying, okay, we're starting to see a spike. If we see the spike, typically a bill from a cloud provider is delayed by 24 hours. Right. But if you have tooling that's monitoring on the technical side of things, you can see, auto scaling has really, spun up. Obviously, there's going to be a cost associated with that. So having those kind of daily conversations of, well, what is the financial impact of making these decisions at an architectural level will then kind of drive that cost, optimization, the fiduciary responsibility of the taxpayer dollars on that side of making these decisions in what's best for the application, but best for saving the money here and go spending it elsewhere and allowing you to do more and deliver more to the government at the end of the day. Go ahead.
That's an interesting concept because I think of it more even like security. You can't wait for the next day to get a report saying, hey, somebody hacked you. Yeah. So it's running into the finance department. You can't let things spin up and run out of control and then find out the next day. So immediate response is critical for all these XOps characteristics and cultures.
It does, and it allows everybody to collaborate who traditionally wouldn't. The PM would deal with the financial folks, and right. Developers and engineers would never. And finance procurement was this, acquisitions was this mysterious thing of it'll eventually show up, and we'll get the task order signed, and we'll be able to continue. It gives everybody this accountability and this ownership for the cloud usage, and it ultimately it just allows for a better overall kind of this operating model that. It is kind of hard to think in these terms. And, I had it when I moved from a more technical role into this and dealing with the FinOps practice of getting my head around it of, well, the money's there, you have budget or you don't, but giving you that kind of the freedom to make decisions of, well, I can settle, we can use this and this will work just fine. And then we can go get this tool or we can use this toolkit to do more and kind of really satisfy what we need, but still staying within that budget. And, maybe it's because we don't have technical expertise and we need to bring in an outsider, rely upon a cloud provider service. It gives you that more flexibility within the cloud environment because kind of everything, the cloud environment is like ATO essentially at the end of the day. So all the tools are accepted within that bag of that toolkit. So you don't have to go out and, well, do I need to vet this XYZ and go through that process and get approved when it's already there. So it allows you to move faster or fail faster at the end of the day with that.
We look at a lot of continuous software engineering and just ContinuousX of everything. It sounds like that's the running stage for FinOps, where it's integrated into pipelines and your CI/CD and you're testing maybe even you're validating that everything's financially marked so that you are tracking and it's not and it is going into the right categories of that sort of. So that seems like the end state, would you say, or does it go beyond that?
It is the end state and it's not. It's kind of both the same of where. It's never going to end. The decisions will always change. The environment will always change. The application will always change. It's, if you ask a security person, what's the most secure way for the system is you build it, you ATO it, and then you turn it off.
Right.
It's always that is the most secure.
That is very secure.
But then that doesn't deliver for the mission. It's not moving forward. It's not continuing. So the bringing in the concepts of the DevOps X model or DevSecOps, whatever they're doing, of continuously improving and moving forward, failing forward is a popular term. This allows you to just bring it in at the kind of the fiduciary responsibility level and allowing essentially things to go better at the end of the day. And it kind of everybody gets to share it on the fun. I know, talking about the dollars and cents is not fun, and you don't want engineering and art, as in it, like a former engineer, recovering engineer, I don't want, budget telling me why I don't need this server, why I don't need this toolkit when I know it's the best tool out there for whatever we need to solve. But this gives you kind of the reason why behind and having this incorporated. If you're, part of the daily scrum and you bring that model in and, as the, an engineer, the PaaS operator, and seeing, well, this is why we spent this yesterday because this cost X, Y, and Z, and having those and getting the why, it gives your team the ability to understand what is going on behind the scenes in those decisions at the end of the day.
Well, that is perfect, Chris. Good wrap up on our series about FinOps. You've been a tremendous person with insights, and thank you for your time over these past episodes. And thank you, listeners, for listening. Join us for our next ContinuousX episode as we try to solve for X in the SDLC equation.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.